discussing the dilemmas of parenting in this digital age, and still inviting your feedback on this particular conversation. In studio, I'm engaging Jane Ngatia, a counseling psychologist. And Jane, before we took the break, we had just begun to dissect, where the rain began, hitting us. And I just want to ask you this question concerning what sort of example as adults we have set for the children. We are trying to address the problem of addiction, the problem of too much exposure to screen time. And when I'm saying screen time, I mean TV, the iPads, the phones, and anything that you can get that exposes you to the outside environment. But we are not looking at what we are doing. Are we doing anything different as a society that would act as a good example to the children who are coming up in terms of how to properly manage the screen time?
That's a very important question, Safin, that you have brought up. Children will always learn from adults, and the immediate adult in this case is that parent. Children who have parents, ideally, children are always taken care of by adults. And whatever that parent does is very important to the child, because the child believes that the adult is always right. Whatever is done by adults should also be done by children, because the pace is already set. It is not a big wonder that parents will also spend a lot of time on the same gadgets that they are trying to take away from the children, or that they are complaining about. So much time on probably their phones. They are not necessarily even calling or receiving calls, but they are on other areas. A smartphone has everything to offer.
Just passing
to
time.
Us. Exactly. And parents are also not talking to each other, even in the presence of the child. Listen, they are also engraved. They are, in that world. And that space is the one that the child also wants to occupy, because they want to do what they see. That is what we call learning by imitation. Whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing, but the parents set the pace, and the child believes it's good enough for them also to imitate and do.
So, Jen, as we ask where our children, the children are asking where are our parents.
Good.
So it's like a two-edged sword.
It's actually a vicious cycle.
All right.
Yes.
I want to take you to something else that is also crucial, that people would like to know. At what is the recommended age to start exposing your child to technology? And as they get older, they want to have a little freedom on what programs they want to watch, which websites they want to visit. What should be your role as a parent in this phase? Giving them that freedom, but still, having a role to play in their, a screen lifestyle, if I may use that term.
Wow, good observation there. I would say that the parent needs to walk with the child, walking in that sense of the need to grow with the child. The child should not go too far from the parent's understanding of where the child is. And whereas we may not talk about a particular age that the child should be allowed, for instance, to handle the smartphone, to stay with it, to scroll, to do games and all that. But it is important for a parent to know, does this child have the capacity? Are they of age even to understand that you can only spend this much time on your gadget, and more time on play, and more time on study, and so on?
Because how do you handle that in an era where these children are smarter even than the parents? They can even teach you how to navigate through your phone if you're not careful. How do you manage?
Yes, there is still a way that one can manage. Safin, a child has never been ahead of the parent in terms of the experiences of parenting. And that's why one is the parent. I may not be ahead of technology. Actually, my children, my teenage children, help me. They are now, actually some of them adolescents, but they help me to set, even when I reset my phone and things are gone haywire, I can't manage it, they come and fix it for me. But that does not mean that they will be able to manage me or to control me in terms of, when I call you, you need to be able to respond to me. The parents still need to be in charge. Most of the phones that children have, for instance, because phone is actually the big thing here, it's the parent who bought it and provided it to the child. The better way to do it is not even to talk about you are not of age to handle this. It is an agreement that I have provided this smartphone to you for good use, probably even to do homework and all that. Sometimes like
the online classes,
yes,
now with the COVID era,
yes, the homeschooling and all that.
Yeah.
It is for good use.
Jane, I don't know, what are some of the risks that we are facing in the home environment with having these children spend so much time on screen? Let's talk about the safety concerns, even in terms of content that they're exposed to. What are some of the things that parents need to be careful about?
Parents need to be careful about very many things. Talk about even videos, movies, films, and all that. Even some cartoons. If the parent is not careful, the child will kind of probably put them on the back seat. The child has a way of pretending that what they are viewing is good and they don't want to cause that alarm. But it is the responsibility of the parent to keep finding out from the child, what is it that you do? Can we share part of what
so be part
you
of
view?
That world.
Oh yes.
Be part of it. Watch those cartoons, watch those programs with them.
Yeah.
All right.
I must step out of my comfort zone. Gadgets like phones, like TV, iPads and all that have a way of getting people away from each other and not disturbing one another. So the parent should not be put on the back seat. They have to be able to monitor. They actually need to ask the child, now that you've been on that gadget for a while, can we share what movie was it? Because some of those are not good for children. Yeah.
Let me take you to a question that Doreen posted. It actually relates to what we are talking about right now. And she was just concerned about how one can be in control of what their children are watching without appearing to be a snitch. That was her choice of word. I mean, just not sort of appear like you're a police or you're policing them around. How do you manage to establish that trust so that they don't feel like you're really invading in their private space too much?
Somehow, every child can take personal responsibility, but the parent has to make it clear that this is not good for you in this home. We talk of family values even, and family values need to be extended even to things like the movies that they follow, the kind of cartoons that they do if they are younger children. That is very important, including even how they communicate on phone, because that is all a package. It's part of the deal. So if the family values were strengthened and the parents take their stand and make it clear to the child that even when you are alone, you need to take personal responsibility. There are things that will destroy you, and I may not be able to monitor. I don't want to follow you. I don't want to come to your room to see what you are doing and what you are not doing. But can you take personal responsibility? Right. Just explaining what is useful, what is not useful. The child, you take it up.
So you make sure that you instill those values in them so that even if you're not there, the values will carry them through how they are managing.
Very
All
good.
right. Unfortunately, we're almost running out of time for this conversation, but I'd just like to ask you this question. How then do we come up with strategies that will help us have a technologically friendly environment? Doreen suggested in her home what she does. There are places you cannot go with the gadgets. There are times like during family devotions, dinner time, you cannot be able to use your gadget as you do that. Is this important? And what more can you share with us in terms of some strategies parents can employ to better manage the screen time for their children?
I like that approach. We talk about family rules, family values. They are not written anywhere in most cases, but children can be asked to follow the rules. They are part of the family. And what I also call family memorandum of understanding, family MOU, is also very important, where they sit together, parents and children, and they are able to bring out, what do you want? Give them the freedom to give their opinion. If this is going to destroy you, if it's taking too much of your time, what do you think of that? As opposed to the parent imposing the rules on the children. Involve the children in saying, because they also know what is good for them, what is not good for them. Actually, that's why they hide. Sometimes the child you want to hide in the kitchen, somewhere in their bedrooms. They even lock the door. They don't want to be disturbed. Find out from them, what do they want? And then you get, as a parent, the standard way of doing it. The parents still take charge. And the parent, again I say, should never accept to be put on the back seat.
All right.
In charge.
All right. I wish we could continue, having this conversation. But your final words as we wrap up this conversation, just tell us, how do we ensure that content generators, such as the media and those managing some of these websites, also take responsibility on what they put out there when it comes to the safety of children? And how can we hold them more accountable in the future when it comes to addressing this particular issue?
That's very important. I like speaking to parents. I like talking to Kenyans and people of goodwill. It is our collective responsibility as the persons who generate the content, the information that goes out there. It's important that we care about what it means and what it will make the child to be. We are talking about the future. Children are our future. They are the future of any nation. And so we need to instill values of responsibility, starting with the adults, and the child will become responsible. They'll be able to make choices, because making choices is key.
Thank you so much, Jane, for creating time for us tonight. Of course, it's a conversation that we can always pick up in the near future. But so far, I believe that you have learned a thing or two on how to manage screen time for your children in your home environment. Start that conversation today. Do you know your son or daughter's password? Begin there. I'm just going to be handing it over to John Jacob Kioria for the latest.